Wow. Okay. So, G. Kelly Dixon, I'm going to talk about a video that maybe a lot of people don't want to talk about. It's called PPP or EIDL loan fraud. So, I was reading the journal this week and it talks about JPMorgan Chase really talking to some employees about potential PPP loan fraud. And when I looked at the program, I don't understand why they're trying to insinuate that they didn't know that people weren't going to be 100% honest when giving these loans. If you read the website that was on the SBA, they basically told you if you were applying for less than $2 million, that they were looking the other way. They weren't checking tax returns. They weren't doing anything. If you said you're a business and you needed the money, all you had to do was state it, and then basically you would get a check. Okay? So, not only that, there was no guarantee or personal guarantee that the business owner had to take on. So, if the business failed after they received the money, there was no recourse for that money. So, what I've come to know is that a failing business that needs money is either going to take the money and get out of their situation or they're not. And the reality of the situation is, in order for a business to get out of a negative situation, they need customers, they need revenue. If that revenue is not there, unless they get another check, they are going out of business if they cannot meet their obligation. Period. So it opened the door to the real question here is, will these loans get paid back? And it doesn't really take a brain surgeon to say probably not. At least a great portion of them will not get paid back. And that doesn't necessarily even have anything to do with fraud, but it goes to say, well, if these businesses got money and they had to choose between continuing to operate or taking that capital and investing it somewhere else. Sometimes a smart captain will look at his ship and say, well, if I have money to buy a better ship or a cheaper ship, that's what I'm going to do. Like there are a ton of real estate funds right now that have delinquent loans right now that are raising money to buy distressed properties. Again, the captain looking at their ship and saying, well, instead of me allocating money to my sinking ship, maybe I'll take that money and go buy a better ship or a cheaper ship, to correctly prophesize. So when we look at the loans that were given, I don't think I have nowhere near the information, and I'm probably nowhere near the intelligence of a lot of the economists and a lot of the people that are behind the scenes that are actually looking at facts. If I had the same data, I could come to the same conclusions, but we cannot act stupid like they didn't know that there was going to be a tremendous amount of default. Everybody called it, including myself. We knew that that was going to be the case. Fraud or no fraud, there was going to be a tremendous amount of loans that weren't going to be paid back. So the question is, who is on the hook for the money that these businesses got that they're not paying back? And the same people that are on the hook for the stimulus checks that everybody else got that they don't have to pay back. The taxpayer or our kids, the future generations that have to deal with the inflation that is going to come from all of this money printing. A lot of these articles are fun to read, but we have to read between the lines as well. I don't think there are any bank officials that started giving PPP loans that were backed by the government that didn't have to verify tax returns, didn't have to verify income, didn't have to verify the amount of employees on staff, just allowed businesses to fill out an application, submit a social security number, state what they made, state what they needed, and cut them a check and expect all that money to come back. Again, these are the same banks that just went through Dodd-Frank. So if you don't know what Dodd-Frank is, they have restrictions and things they must check on individuals that they lend money to. So they have all, and this happened after the financial crisis. So when you have no restrictions on people that you lend money to, the default rate is going to be high. And I think they knew that. But to sit here and directly just blame it on fraud is really what I have the issue with. Whatever you want to call it, you can say what you want to say. You guys knew when you wrote the checks that there was going to be a high level of default given the situation. Okay? It's just what it is. But we'll see what happens. And listen, I guess I'm proud that Chase is making a stand. But at the end of the day, we all knew that the defaults were going to be there, and unfortunately, the American taxpayer is going to have to front the bill for all these companies and eventually all the stimulus that's been put out there. But until that time, let's continue to get richer, continue to get wiser, buy assets, and grow your income. G. Kelly Dixon, take care.